The next little piece I want to show you is the circuit board I built. This is actually just a PCB. It's my first attempt at an actual PCB, and so I made some mistakes. I had to actually order two orders of these, as it turns out. But I ordered this from, or I designed it in the Eagle CAD design, electronics design software. And what it is a bunch of shift registers. Let me see if I can get some of this out of the way here. There's all the shift registers. And you can see all the shift registers down there. And the shift registers allow you to send in one bit at a time through the shift registers, and they just propagate through, and you can actually daisy chain the shift registers. So with 48 keys, there's actually 6 8-bit shift registers here. And the other electronics on here, power, some LEDs that we put on there just so that that we could do a little debugging, and it looks kind of fun when it's actually cranking away. And then all these headers, which had all the wires connected to the keys on the typewriter through the wiring harness here. There's also some opto-couplers on here. These are little camera's not having a good time focusing. There's some bunch of opto-couplers on here, which are so that the Arduino actually doesn't interface directly with the rest of the digital circuits. Probably not necessary in the end. These are actually high power TI shift registers that allow a high current draw through them. Each one of the solenoids actually draws roughly half an amp to an amp, and so I needed to get something that was hefty enough to allow that to flow through. And anyway, I just wanted to use the opto-couplers just in case. I also started out by using a different Arduino, which I'll talk about in a different video. But anyway, this so I had this built at OSH Park, Open Source Hardware Park, which is a great little PCB fab company that you send in your design, and they when they get enough designs for a whole run, they put them all together and send them back, and it was no more than a couple weeks to get the parts. This is also my first attempt at surface mount soldering and components, and I wish I could get the focus a little better here. It's tough to see, but the components in here are mostly surface mount, and these little resistors over here I thought were going to be really hard to mount and to solder, because these resistors are tiny now. Let's see if I can show you this. Where is it? There it is. This is how big they are. Let me show it on my finger. That is how big these resistors are. They're tiny. This is my pinky, right? And that's how tiny these little resistors are. And when you think about soldering those, if I drop this on the table, I almost lose it. In fact, I've lost a number of them by just accidentally dropping them on the floor, and they're just gone. They're so tiny. And to put them into the circuit, oh, there we go. I just dropped one right now. To put them into the circuit, actually, as it turns out, the soldering is easier for the tinier parts than for the larger parts. The hardest soldering for this one, which really wasn't that hard in the end, was for the shift registers, because you have to solder all those little pins. But my student Kate Wazenchuk and I spent many hours painstakingly soldering this, and it was certainly a good learning experience in that regard. And then soldering all the headers in as well, soldering the headers wasn't so hard. It was doing all the soldering of the wires to the headers, which was definitely time consuming as well.